Good morning, students. Today we are going to talk about hypoxia. And the term hypoxia is used to denote the deficiency of oxygen supply at the tissue level. It is used to denote the deficiency of oxygen supply at tissue level. Please note down this definition. So, hypoxia is the term used to denote the deficiency of oxygen supply at the tissue level. And coming to classification of hypoxia or types of hypoxia. Hypoxia can be classified as four types. One is hypoxic hypoxia, anemic hypoxia, stagnant hypoxia, and histotoxic hypoxia. So these are the four types of hypoxia: hypoxic hypoxia, anemic hypoxia, stagnant hypoxia, and histotoxic hypoxia. Now we will study in detail about each type of hypoxia. Please note down this definition and classification. First, coming to the hypoxic hypoxia. Here there is decreased oxygen. In hypoxic hypoxia, basically there is decreased oxygen, and the causes for this hypoxic hypoxia can be due to low oxygen tension. So one of the cause for hypoxic hypoxia is low oxygen tension, which is usually seen at high altitudes and also during breathing artificial gases. So low oxygen tension is seen in two conditions. One is at high altitude and when breathing artificial gases. For example, if the patient is put to a ventilator, he will be given artificial gases, isn't it? Artificial oxygen. So in that condition, there is a chance that there can be lower oxygen tension. Then another cause is hypoventilation. So another cause of hypoxic hypoxia is hypoventilation, and this hypoventilation, it can be seen in obstruction to the respiratory passage, as in asthma. If there is an obstruction to the respiratory passage, which is seen specifically in asthma, there is hypoventilation, and that will lead to hypoxic hypoxia, that is lowered oxygen levels. And another cause for hypoventilation can be decreased lung compliance. Compliance is stretching of the lung, isn't it? If there is any decrease in this compliance, that means that if the lungs are not able to stretch so as to take up more of air into the lungs, if there is any disturbance in this compliance, then there will be hypoventilation, and that will lead to hypoxic hypoxia. And this decreased lung compliance can be seen in pneumothorax. And another cause for hypoxic hypoxia can be paralysis of the respiratory muscles. as seen in poliomyelitis. If there is any paralysis of the respiratory muscles, then that also will lead to hypoxic hypoxia because of decreased entry of air into the lungs. And another cause can be damage to the respiratory centers. Due to any brain tumors or any injuries as seen in accidents, if there is any damage to the respiratory centers, that may lead to decreased oxygen. So one cause of hypoxic hypoxia is low oxygen tension. Which can be seen during high altitude and also during when giving artificial gases. Then another cause is hypoventilation. Hypoventilation can be seen again due to obstruction to the respiratory passages or decreased lung compliance or paralysis to the respiratory muscles or any damage to the respiratory centers. It can be due to injury or brain tumors. Please take down these points. Hypoxic hypoxia, it is in this there is decreased oxygen levels. Now the causes can be low oxygen tension and hypoventilation. Low oxygen tension, it can be due to breathing artificial gases or at high altitude. Then hypoventilation, it can be due to these different causes. Now, another cause for hypoxic hypoxia can be reduced diffusion of oxygen across the respiratory membrane. Reduced diffusion of oxygen across the respiratory membrane. And this is seen when there is marked reduction in the area as in emphysema. If the area of the respiratory membrane is decreased, then naturally there will be decreased diffusion of oxygen across that membrane. And if there is increased thickness of the respiratory membrane as seen in pulmonary edema, then there will be reduced diffusion of oxygen across that membrane. And another condition where there is reduced diffusion of oxygen is when there is non-functioning membrane as seen in fibrosis. If any area of the respiratory membrane is not functioning, so at that area there will be no diffusion or reduced diffusion of oxygen, that will lead to hypoxic hypoxia. So reduced diffusion of oxygen across the respiratory membrane, it can be due to marked reduction in the area of the respiratory membrane or increased thickness of the respiratory membrane, or if there is any non-functioning respiratory membrane as seen in fibrosis. And another cause is anatomical shunt as seen in congenital heart disease. During development, if there is any congenital anomalies of the heart, then there will be decreased oxygen to the tissues, and that will lead to hypoxic hypoxia. And the features of hypoxic hypoxia are, one is low oxygen content, arterial oxygen content, and low arterial partial pressure of oxygen. So the features of hypoxia are low oxygen content and also low arterial PO2. So now you know the causes and features of hypoxia. Now coming to the second type of hypoxia, that is anemic hypoxia. In this there is decreased oxygen carrying capacity. So here the supply of oxygen is adequate, but the thing is there is decreased oxygen carrying capacity in the blood. That means because of low hemoglobin levels, the oxygen carrying capacity is reduced. And the causes for anemic hypoxia are: one is decreased RBC count. Decreased RBC count as seen in hemorrhage or in bone marrow depression, where the production of RBC is reduced. And another cause is decreased hemoglobin levels. And another cause can be altered hemoglobin. The hemoglobin level is normal, but the structure of hemoglobin is altered in such a way that it has no capacity to carry oxygen. And altered hemoglobin can be methemoglobin or carboxyhemoglobin. And so these are the causes for anemic hypoxia: decreased RBC, that can be due to any hemorrhage or bone marrow depression, and reduced hemoglobin and or altered hemoglobin. If the structure of the hemoglobin is altered, then there is a chance that the oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin is reduced. And features of anemic hypoxia: the arterial partial pressure of oxygen is normal. Here the arterial PO2 is normal, but there is decrease in the percentage saturation of hemoglobin. And also there is decreased, since there is decreased saturation of hemoglobin, there is decreased oxygen carrying capacity. So in anemic hypoxia there is decrease, it can be due to decreased RBC, decreased hemoglobin or altered hemoglobin. And the features here will be arterial PO2 is normal, but there is decrease in the percentage saturation of hemoglobin and also oxygen carrying capacity. Please take down whatever is written on the board. It will be easy for you when you read this topic. Anemic hypoxia, we talked about the causes and features, isn't it? Now pathophysiology of anemic hypoxia. In mild to moderate anemia, usually it does not produce any hypoxia at rest. In severe anemia, there can be decreased or hypoxic hypoxia at rest also. But in mild to moderate anemia, it does not produce any hypoxia at rest. That is due to compensatory increase. No hypoxia at rest in mild and moderate anemia. That is because of compensatory increase in 2,3 DPG in the RBC. And this 2,3 DPG combines with oxyhemoglobin and forms Hb2 and 3 DPG and liberates oxygen. So during rest, that is in mild and moderate anemia, at rest you will not see any hypoxia because there is compensatory increase in the 2,3 DPG in RBC. This 2,3 DPG will combine with oxyhemoglobin and liberate oxygen. That is the reason you will not see any hypoxia at rest in mild and moderate anemia. Whereas in severe anemia, even at rest also there can be severe hypoxia because in this condition there will not be any compensatory increase in the 2,3 DPG. So this is about anemic hypoxia. Now coming to stagnant hypoxia. In this, the oxygen content is normal, oxygen supply is normal, but there is decreased blood supply to the tissues. Decreased blood flow to the tissues. And the causes for stagnant hypoxia can be generalized. Example is shock. There is generalized reduced blood flow to the tissues, which is seen in shock and also in congestive cardiac failure, or it can be localized. Example, embolism. That means if any blood clot is obstructing any blood vessel, then the tissue which is being supplied by that particular blood vessel, it will not get any blood supply. Or atherosclerosis. That means thickening of the arteries. If the arteries are thickened, they cannot contract and relax, so that there is adequate blood flow to the tissues. Because of this thickness of the wall of the blood vessel, the blood flow to the tissues is reduced. And features of stagnant hypoxia. Here the arterial PO2 is normal. Then arterial oxygen content is also normal. Then percentage saturation of oxygen is also normal. So here you can see that the blood partial pressure of oxygen, oxygen content and saturation, everything are normal. But the thing is, there is decreased blood flow to the tissues. Because of this reason, that will lead to hypoxia. So causes and features of stagnant hypoxia. Causes can be generalized or localized. Generalized can be shock or congestive cardiac failure. Localized, it can be due to embolism or atherosclerosis. And features, all the oxygen content, oxygen partial pressure of oxygen, oxygen saturation, all are normal, but there is hypoxia because of decreased blood flow to the tissues. Please take down all the points which are written on the board. That will be very easy for you when you are studying this in the textbook. And moreover, if you read this, whatever is given here, if at all you read this, you will be able to answer in the exam easily. Then another type of hypoxia is histotoxic hypoxia. Here the oxygen levels in the blood are normal, blood supply to the tissues is also normal, hemoglobin content is also normal, but there is decreased ability of tissues to utilize oxygen. In hypoxic hypoxia, there was decreased oxygen content, isn't it? In anemic hypoxia, there is decreased oxygen saturation because of decreased hemoglobin. And in stagnant hypoxia, the oxygen content, saturation were normal, but the blood flow to the tissues is reduced. Whereas in histotoxic hypoxia, blood flow to the tissue is also normal, but the tissues are not in a position to utilize the oxygen. And the causes for the tissues not being able to utilize the oxygen are any poisonous substances, in the tissues that will destroy the cellular oxidative enzymes. Like example, cyanide. So these poisonous substances, they destroy the cellular oxidative enzymes that help in utilization of oxygen by the tissues. If that cellular oxidative enzymes are destroyed, then the tissues will not be in a position to utilize the oxygen which is present in the blood. And here features same, partial pressure of oxygen is normal, oxygen content is normal, hemoglobin is normal, and blood supply to the tissues is also normal, but because of the cellular oxidative enzymes deficiency, the tissues are not able to utilize the oxygen which is present in the blood. So these are the four types of hypoxia. Now coming to the symptoms of hypoxia. Symptoms will study in common for all types of hypoxia, and the symptoms can be classified as three types. One is fulminant, acute and chronic. Fulminant, the onset of the symptoms are very fast. In fulminant type, the onset will be very fast, that is within seconds. The patient may fall unconscious and there can be brain death. So we will not have much time to treat this type of patients. The symptoms will be very fast, that will lead to brain death. And acute type. Here, and this fulminant symptoms, they can be seen at an altitude of 20,000 feet. And acute, this will not occur very fast, it will give us some time, and the symptoms being lack of coordination. These are not life-threatening symptoms. In acute, that means the symptoms are mild, they can be treated and the patient will give us some time to treat. Whereas in fulminant, the symptoms occur very fast, the patient will fall unconscious and brain death will occur within seconds. Whereas in acute, there is lack of coordination, slowed reflexes, slurring of speech. Here you can see the symptoms are not life-threatening, which can be taken some time to treat. And then the patient may fall unconscious. First these symptoms are seen, then if not treated during this period, then the patient may fall unconscious. Now, chronic symptoms. And these acute symptoms will occur at an altitude of 18,000 feet. And chronic symptoms will occur at an altitude of around 15,000 feet. And these chronic symptoms can be severe fatigue, that means the symptoms occur very gradually. Dyspnea. So these are the chronic symptoms. So symptoms due to hypoxia, any type of hypoxia, it can be fulminant, acute or chronic. Fulminant, it occurs very fast and it will not give us much time to treat the patient. Whereas, and they occur at an altitude of 20,000 feet. Whereas acute hypoxia, it occurs at an altitude of 18,000 feet. There is lack of coordination, slowed reflexes and slurring of speech, and then the patient may fall unconscious. Then chronic symptoms, they occur at an altitude of 15,000 feet, and here the symptoms are severe fatigue and dyspnea. So these are the symptoms of hypoxia. Now coming to the signs of hypoxia. Symptoms are what the patient is experiencing or what the patient complains of, whereas signs what we see in the patient. Cyanosis, which is blue, is discoloration of the skin and the mucous membrane. It can be, cyanosis can be peripheral or central. Usually peripheral cyanosis, it is seen in stagnant hypoxia. Central cyanosis is seen in hypoxic hypoxia. And apart from cyanosis, there can be tachycardia, that means increased heart rate. And this increase in the heart rate can be due to chemoreceptor reflex in response to low oxygen tension. And there can be tachypnea also. That means increase in respirations. Since the oxygen is low in the blood or oxygen is not reaching the tissues, the subject will try to hyperventilate so that he can take more of air inside and more of oxygen. And treatment for all the types of hypoxia is, for hypoxic hypoxia, is oxygen therapy. It is not same for all types of hypoxia. In hypoxic hypoxia, since the oxygen content is low, oxygen therapy will be of help in only hypoxic hypoxia. So oxygen therapy is useful only in hypoxic hypoxia. In other types of hypoxia, oxygen therapy is of no use because already the oxygen content is normal, but the thing is, in anemic hypoxia, because of low hemoglobin concentration, there is decreased oxygen carrying capacity. So in that anemic hypoxia, if at all we give oxygen, there will be of no use because the oxygen carrying capacity is reduced. So how much ever oxygen you give to the patient, it will not be of any help. Whereas in stagnant hypoxia also same. If you give oxygen therapy to the stagnant hypoxia, then also because there is decreased blood supply to the tissues, even though the oxygen content is increased in the blood, since there is no blood supply to the tissues will not get any oxygen. So there will be deficiency of oxygen at the tissue level again. And in histotoxic hypoxia, even if we give oxygen therapy in histotoxic hypoxia also, it will be of no use because the oxygen content is normal already and the tissues are not able to utilize the oxygen. So how much ever oxygen you give in histotoxic hypoxia, it will be of no use because the tissues themselves are not able to utilize the oxygen. So oxygen therapy is useful only in hypoxic hypoxia. So this is in brief about hypoxia. First, definition, classification: hypoxic hypoxia, anemic hypoxia, stagnant hypoxia and histotoxic hypoxia. And different causes and features of all types of hypoxia. Then symptoms and signs, they are common to all types of hypoxia. They may vary in some matters, but the symptoms will be, rather than the type of hypoxia, the symptoms can be fulminant, acute or chronic. It depends upon the onset of the symptoms. The classification depends on onset of the symptoms rather than the type of hypoxia. Now that was about hypoxia. Now we'll study about some abnormal respiratory patterns. Abnormal respiratory patterns can be apnea, hypoventilation, hyperventilation, dyspnea, and periodic breathing.